Hi, welcome to Unique Parenting. I am V Moyes, and today I want to talk to you guys about tweens and teens. And the reason I want to talk about tweens and teens is basically I want to let parents know how they are not little kids. Your tween and your teen is not a little kid, but also they're not adults either. They're not mini adults. They're in this very unique little space of child development, or I guess development in general, where they want a lot but can't do a lot. I currently have a tween and I currently have a teen. So it's an interesting mix for me because I'm seeing the growth from being a little kid of like, oh man, I have so much independence and there's so many things I could do. We no longer need a babysitter, you guys. How exciting. So that feels really freeing as a parent because now there are these things that we couldn't do before, my husband and I, but now we can. So it feels like it's liberating, it's wonderful, but they are not little kids in that where it's so they're happy all the time and they're just giggling and they're so like just joyful for no reason, right? Like that is no longer the case. We got a lot of meh personalities and behaviors going on. And as a parent, it's kind of like, oh man, you're not happy. Is there something wrong? Is there something we need to talk about? Or, you know, like my son is this silent kid that basically is like, I'm good. How's it going? Good. I'm good. Like he's just good all the time. And that's different from the joyful, loud, rambunctious little boy. And, you know, my daughter's the same way. She's entering mehness, right? And that feels different. That feels odd. And that feels like there's something wrong, but there isn't anything wrong. Tweens and teens are entering this stage of development where basically they're trying to regulate their own moods and their own behaviors. They're getting a whole new dose of hormones that they haven't had before. They're trying to figure out how to work with it. So, you know, we have estrogen in the mix. We have progesterone in the mix. We got testosterone in the mix. We got a lot of things in the mix that wasn't there before. And yet here they are. So we're dealing with them. But they also are requiring more autonomy, more independence, more freedom, and they're requiring, you know, just different ways of testing boundaries. They're learning who they are and they're trying to figure it out. And that's so different from the little kid that was so, you know, like, just tell me who I am. Just tell me what I like, you know, just tell me what activities to do. So in that stage, we have to honor the difference that's happening, right? We got to honor if your child wants to stop doing something at this stage, it may be okay, right? I'm big on honoring a commitment. That is very important to me. But I also understand if a child's been doing this thing for like 5 years, especially if you're like me and you're an insane person and you made your kids start stuff at like 2, yeah, by the time they're 10, they're over it. So don't start stuff at 2. I'm just saying, like, you know, that's the only advice I could give you. But they just might be over it, or they may want to try something new. But I guarantee you, if it's something that they love and they enjoy and they truly want to do, they'll come back to it. I know my daughter stopped piano for a couple of years. I started at 2. No, she wasn't 2. Or maybe she was. But she stopped. Like, she didn't want to do it for anymore. And she was like, Mom, I want to take a break. And I was like, this is sure, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. And she picked it back up and she loved it and she is happy to be doing it again. But by allowing her to do the thing that she wants to do and by listening, I have created something that I wanted to create for her, which is, you know, autonomy and the ability to advocate for what she wants and what she needs. So it's the same thing. Like, you just kind of have to honor where tweens and teens are because they're not little kids. Developmentally, they are different. They require different things. I obviously have so many clips or videos about technology and how that changed with, you know, those years as well and what they're going to require and want and need. One thing that will never change is boundaries are boundaries and screen time should always have restrictions. no matter what. But it does change, and you have to have a conversation with your tween and your teen about what that looked like and how it looks like. But yeah, they're not little kids. They're not going to be happy all the time. The, different mood variations is normal and it's fine. And also their autonomy is fine. Or wanting, more autonomy is fine. Just make sure you're communicating and that you're talking, and also that you are respecting and allowing them to make the choices that they want to make, but explaining it to them, like explaining exactly, this is the decision you're making and this is what it looks like. And it's not to make them like fearful, but just so they understand. Because while they are not little kids, they're definitely not adults. And they do not have enough awareness of the future because they don't have the brain development to support that, right? The lack of frontal lobe development does not allow them to see past tomorrow. But they do have more insight. So, little kids can't see past the moment. Teens and tweens can see a little bit further out. They really can, but they really can't see a 30-year-old version of themselves. So that's why it's still very important to keep guiding and redirecting, because when we get to the solid teen, right, when we have exited tweenness and we get to solid teen, you really just kind of want to sit back and see what they're doing with the information you've provided as a parent, as a guardian, as a caregiver. You're just now looking at, okay, what are you going to do with this information, right? Versus here's the information. So it's all developmentally appropriate. They're all different stages. They're not little kids, but they're not adults. They're not young adults. They're not full-blown teenagers. It's just this strange in between as they're trying to figure it out, and you're trying to help them figure it out. Just make sure they're heard, and make sure that you are respecting their boundaries and that you are respecting who they are as a person and as an individual. And yeah, it's a little tough, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? Like, that's just part of this parenting journey. And that's why I call it a journey, because you just keep getting new things. You just keep experiencing new things. The destination is constantly changing. So that's why it's a journey. But in the meantime, I want you all to enjoy your unique parenting journey with your unique child.